Tower defense games are a great way to test your strategic skills, but what if you could test them against your friend? Or even 2 or 3 of your friends? Tower Brawl is a top-down, third-person tower defense game in a classic fantasy setting that allows players to not only build up their own defenses, but also go on the offensive and attempt to destroy the opponent's base. Tower Brawl will take place on the war-torn continent of Alira. Players will join in on this conflict by choosing one of 8 of the playable factions in the game. These factions are humans, elves, orcs, dwarves, vampires, elementals, wizards, and trolls. Each of these races will have its own specific towers and its own monsters to send against your opponents. Tower Brawl is a match-based game in which players must protect their castle from waves of incoming enemies that are moving along the road towards the castle. Players do this by building towers in the areas of the road closest to their castle to slow down and kill the invaders before they can reach the front gate. If too many invaders get to your front gate and get inside your castle, then they will take over your castle and you will lose the game. To win the game, you simply have to prevent this from happening longer than your opponent on the other side of the map, who is facing the exact same situation. Each round, players will receive income that can be spent in one of 2 ways. Income can be spent either to build towers and increase your own defense, or it can be spent on mercenaries who will join the offensive against your opponent. The trade-off here is players can either build their own defenses up and become stronger, or by sending mercenaries, you also increase your round income. The trade-off between income and defense seems like a pretty simple one at first glance, but can actually lead to some very interesting gameplay. To demonstrate this, I'd like to take us through an example situation that you might find in the game. So, at this point in the game, we're pretty early on, and the left-hand player has been moving along pretty steadily, but all of a sudden he's noticed that the other team is sending a lot more mercenaries in with his waves. So, what a newer player might do to respond to this situation would just be to continue building a bunch of towers. What a more experienced player might realize at this point is that the opponent has been sending all of these troops. He can't have been spending as much money on defenses as the left-hand player has. So, what could be done is to send a lot of troops and overwhelm what are hopefully his weakened defenses. However, you also have to take into account the fact that because the player on the right has been sending so much more than the player on the left, he will also have a higher income than the player on the left. So he might be able to just continue to send and overcome the player on the left's defenses, or quickly shore up his own defenses and stop that assault from piercing them. The major development risk that we see moving forward with this project is represented by the 8 playable factions. We fear that this may be too many for us to develop in the 4 months available to us, and to mitigate this, we will first develop 4 of the races, and then reevaluate our time and decide on the other 4. We think that with this plan we will still be able to deliver a fun and engaging way for our players to test their skills against each other in Tower Brawl. Thank you for your time. Have a great day.